everyone. Welcome to the Solar Energy Market Series. My name is Erez Dolev, and I'm the Managing Director here at RENVU. Today, we're going to be hearing from Javier Vigil, VP Commercial and Go-to-Market Strategy, Tommy Brook, Territory Manager, Ravis Mayer, Director of Sales, and Michael Lane, EVP Sales from Billd, about their commercial project-backed material financing. And we'll also have Terry Miller, President of Solar One, who will share his experience with Billd. Before we dive in, and while we're waiting for more people to join, I'd like to give a little background on RENVU, as well as some of the products and services we offer. RENVU is a US-based solar equipment distributor. We've been in the industry for over a decade now, and we currently have fulfillment facilities in California, New Jersey, and Texas. Our sales staff all have background with engineering or solar installation to provide with the best sales services. A few products quickly to spotlight here. We have in stock Zenshine 550 and Philadelphia 550 bifacial solar modules, and we have some Canadian Solar 550 bifacial modules coming in a few weeks. We carry Solectria, Canadian Solar, and Solis commercial inverters, and also the Solar 30K and 60K for commercial storage projects. If you're using Enphase for CNI projects, we have great pricing on the IQ8Hs that are designed for the commercial modules. The last item here on the slide is the PowerField ground mount ballast rack. This is an easy way to install solar on the ground. We also have solutions for floating PV in case you're interested in covering ponds. We will have a webinar about those in several weeks. Email us at info@renvu.com or see our webinar follow-up email with more info on these. Here's our commercial price list for large volume options and our upcoming offerings of solar modules. We are sharing in the chat link to this page. This is a file that is a good one to bookmark. We update it regularly so you can stay up to date with our latest deals for bulk orders. I'll take a minute also to mention the BLIKIR residential carport. This is a great way to expand existing solar systems or an alternative solution where you cannot install solar on a roof. Shown here is the two-car carport. It is designed to be assembled by a crew of 2 people. It doesn't require any specialized or heavy machinery to install. This is a solar structure, so it's eligible for the 30% ITC and an extra 10% for US sourced products. The carport is supplied with Iron Ridge system and under a panel clamp, so it accepts any solar modules and inverter you want. It is designed and fabricated in the US and made from US sourced galvanized steel and comes with 25 years warranty. There are 2 T-gaskets options that can be added that makes the surface watertight. When using the camo under clamps, the narrow gasket will fit perfectly between the modules, but when using standard clamps, the wider gasket is required. The structure is coming with the structural engineer PE stamp. You can install up to 24 solar modules with 4 columns of 6. With 410-watt modules, you will get about 10 kilowatt, and with 550-watt modules, you can install 18 of them, and it's also 10 kilowatt. With load capacities of up to 48 pound per square foot snow and 215 miles per hour wind load, and seismic design category F. The two-car carport is 18 feet wide, cover 2 standard car spots, and 18 feet deep with 9.5 feet clearance. It comes with 5 degrees tilt. One last item to go over before we get started is our solar design tool. You can see it here. You can go to our homepage and it just appears there on the front page. You can generate as many quotes as you need in a couple of minutes without the need to talk with the sales engineers. And it's available 24 hours, 7 days a week, always updated with the latest products and pricing in the market. First, you select components you would like to see in your quote, and then modules. Choose your solar panel, and then after choosing solar panels, I'll choose the Canadian Solar 395 here. On the left side, you will see the bill of materials building up as I'm adding products. When you're logged into your account, you will see the prices and in addition to the quantities. This is a great way to compare costs of different options in real time. Our team updates this tool constantly with the latest solar components and the pricing currently available. Next, configure your racking system from a wide range of options: tilted flat roof, a ground mount, and carports. I'm selecting the tilted metal roof with corrugated profile. I'm creating 2 arrays. First array with 3 rows, first with 10 modules in portrait. Second and third will be 5 modules in landscape. And second array, I'll put 10 more in portrait. I'll change the rails to black here and the clamps, and I'll change the span to 6 feet. The system creates a sketch of the array as we build it, dimensions. You can verify that this design fits the space you have. Then next step, we will choose an inverter. You can choose between microinverters, optimizers, and string inverters. I'll select the string inverters option with storage, and I'll select the SolarArc 15K for this design. And I will also add home grid battery bank. And then I'll add IGO optimizers. It acts also as a rapid shutdown. Then at the last page, you can add a couple more modules if you need spares: balance of systems, disconnects, Lumin Smart Panel, EV chargers. And then at the end, you can save the quote on your account and get a quote to your email. After generating the quote, the system will take you to the quote page under My Account, so you can make changes, save as PDF, place an order. You can also email our sales engineers at info@renvu.com, and we can weigh in and say if there is anything that we recommend. Take a moment and play with it. I think it's a great tool to compare pricing and also uh, to get quotes quickly. If you have any questions about these products or about Billd, while the team here is sharing their presentation, please feel free to ask in the Q&A section. There is a button on your Zoom panel. We will get to the questions at the end of the webinar during the Q&A session. You can also email our sales team at info@renvu.com for more information and pricing if you need for anything here. This webinar is being recorded, and we will send you a link in a follow-up email. We also have recordings of previous webinars on the RENVU YouTube channel if you want to check that. And without further ado, I will hand it over to Javier. Take over.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Javier Vigil. I'm the VP of our commercial and go-to-market strategy here at Billd. And I specifically partner with the suppliers in our ecosystem to really help them manage a lot of the challenges that arise around payments in commercial construction, and really help them bring solutions that not only benefit our supplier partners, but also their commercial contractors in terms of managing accounts payables and accounts receivables, and really being able to focus on the project work that they're doing and delivering a great experience for their end users. I'm joined by a few folks here from the Billd side: Michael Elaine, our Executive Vice President of Sales; Tommy Burke, who's a territory manager based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but is a dedicated contact for the RENVU partnership. And then we have Terry Miller as well joining us. He's a longtime Billd customer, and we'll chat with him a little bit more towards the end. But for now, I'm going to hand it over to Tommy, who's going to go over some prepared material around construction payments and kind of where Billd fits into the space and how we're kind of helping commercial contractors.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tommy Burke. I'm with Billd. I'm a territory manager here in Atlanta. Just wanted to say that, I never knew that I need a solar-powered carport until I just watched that opening statement. So I'm going to be working on that. But excited to talk with you. We're all excited to be on the call today and discuss our new partnership between RENVU and Billd. So again, like I said, my name is Tommy Burke. I manage the Atlanta market for Billd. And we're going to be spending some time this afternoon sharing some great information on not only Billd, but our material financing product and how we empower contractors like yourselves to take control of their cash flow and build their business on their terms. So first off, we'll take a quick look at the agenda for the call. So first, we want to take a quick look at Billd overall in general, how we got started, and discuss our mission to provide contractors of all size access to capital to help grow and fund their business. Next, we'll take a look at a couple of the common challenges that contractors are facing across the country, which include cash flow, access to capital, and discuss the risk involved with financing their own projects. After that, we'll dive into material financing and give you a rundown on how it works and how contractors are using it today. And then we're very excited to introduce you all to a great client of ours at Billd, Terry Miller with Solar One. Him and I are going to spend some time discussing his business, the challenges that he's faced, and how he partners with Billd today. Then we'll get into a discussion around the value of partnering with Billd and the additional incentives available when using Billd to purchase materials directly through RENVU. Lastly, we'll review our onboarding process. We'll make sure you have the information that you need to engage with me and the Billd team to learn more and discuss specific projects that you have coming up in the future. So how do we get started? It started with these two good-looking gentlemen on the screen here, Chris Doyle and Jesse Weisberg. They are our founders. Chris has a background in specialized in construction, while Jesse specialized in finance. They actually met, funny enough, at a solar company, and that's where they realized that there was a massive gap in the working capital available to commercial contractors. So they saw firsthand how contractors struggled to finance projects and decided to come up with a tool specifically designed for commercial construction. The products that they built are not only designed for construction, but they're project specific. And again, empower contractors like everyone on the call today to take control of the cash flow of their business and grow and build their business on their terms. So since opening in Austin, Texas in 2018, I'm proud to say that we've funded over $70 billion in projects, and we work with over 3,800 suppliers. So let's talk about some of the challenges that contractors are facing in construction today. So as we all know, managing cash flow is one of the most challenging aspects of running and managing your business. How do you make decisions? How do you buy equipment, hire, or bid on projects when you're not quite sure when you're going to get paid for your work? We put together a market report each year with a ton of great information and data that found on average it takes 74 days for contractors to start getting paid for their work. So if you started on a project at the beginning of February, for example, you can expect to get paid for that work starting at the beginning of May. Meanwhile, you're having to come out of pocket for materials upfront or multiple times throughout the time frame while you're waiting to get paid. You have to cover payrolls in this scenario 10 times. And you have to also cover your monthly expenses like rent, utilities, and fuel up to 2.5 times before you start realizing any revenue from those projects. The unpredictable nature of this repayment cycle makes it incredibly difficult for you all to manage your business, and we greatly look forward to helping you improve it by aligning your largest expenses with when you actually start realizing revenue from your projects. So real quick, let's touch on the most popular working capital solutions for business owners today. So the most common are the ones listed here. You have the traditional bank line of credit. You oftentimes have supplier terms. You can use your own cash. A lot of people have business or personal credit cards that they're using to finance their company. And lastly, you have material finance. So we're going to take a quick look into each one of these and how contractors are using them today. So first up is the bank line of credit. So these working capital solutions are typically well priced and offer flexibility and are suitable for a variety of different expenses. So while we encourage our clients to have a line of credit, and we'll help them get one set up with our banking partners, as well as use it, we often find that the limits that are available are not that helpful, especially when you need to keep a certain portion of that available for bonding. They also typically have strict financial stipulations. Their interest rate is oftentimes variable, and the limits can be adjusted with little or no notice. So cash is another obvious working capital solution. Cash is king, right? Except when you're in commercial construction and you're the silent financier of all these projects. So other than the obvious risks of tying up your own personal cash into these projects, we encourage contractors to take into consideration the cost of doing so, and also the opportunity cost of doing so. What is, by tying up your money in these projects for an extended period of time, what is that preventing you doing for your business? Next up is supplier terms. So over 70% of contractors say that they have 30-day terms or less. And this obviously in and of itself is a challenge when we know that the average time it takes for contractors to get paid is 74 days. So if there happens to be a delay, suppliers have the ability to hold back additional purchases until that outstanding balance, not just just for this purchase, but on the entire account. That means that simply the act of using terms could put your project and other projects in jeopardy. So if you can't make the payment, you run the risk of being denied materials that you might need to finish the project. So credit cards are another very popular option, whether it's a personal or business card, to extend the current terms they have with their vendors. This is what we call stacking terms. So, but this is just, honestly, as dicey as some of the others, because you're incurring interest. You then have to keep track of all the different terms and all the different payment methods that you're using, which can be very difficult to do. So we all know that contractors are inherently creative with managing their finances, but as discussed, this comes at quite a bit of uncertainty. This leads us to the question, why go through all that trouble when you can just use Billd and get 120 days to pay for your materials off the bat? The other options are eating up credit limits, potentially accruing insane interest, and not reserving or not enabling you to reserve your credit lines for emergencies. So that leads us to our material financing product here at Billd. So material financing through Billd gives you paid when paid terms up to 120 days for material expenses. The goal here is to take one of your largest capital expenditures off your plate and align this expense with when you actually start realizing revenue. So as you can see, 120-day terms, we pay the supplier upfront in cash. You all or contractors will pay us when you get paid. And this, again, helps you align your largest expenses with when you start realizing revenue from projects. So I'm going to share this quick video, gives a 1.5-minute overview of our product. So I'll get this.
Contractors love Billd, and so will you. Here's why. First, it's pretty straightforward. We pay your supplier. You pay us. Next, we're fast, like really fast. Same-day approvals, same-day payments to your supplier. The Billd portal makes purchasing material for commercial projects simple. Creating a project is as easy as adding the project name, then the project contract. Submitting a material purchase is just as easy. Drop in the quote from your supplier and choose the date you want us to pay them. Billd then pays your supplier on the date you selected. Simple as that. So what happens after we pay your supplier? Easy. Coordinate shipping directly with them. You may be wondering how payments work. It's this simple. You pay us when you're paid, or in 120 days. Billd collects a small interest-only payment each week until final payment has been made. And get this, there's no early payment fee. There's no hidden fees. No, I'm not kidding. Speaking of payments, it's a breeze. Simply link your bank and pay directly through the portal. Need more material? Awarded a new project? Not a problem. We've got your back. It's time to bid on larger, more complex commercial projects to grow your business. Build bigger, build faster, build more. Build now.
All right. So what are some of the other benefits of utilizing material financing other than the obvious 120-day terms? One of the biggest ones is obviously we're taking on a large capital expenditure that contractors have, and we're freeing contractors up to focus on growing and running their business. We're also going to help build a working capital buffer in the business. Majority of the clients that we meet with are looking to have 4 to 6 months of business expenses and kind of a war chest in case there's any unforeseen delays. And so by utilizing Billd and help offloading one of the largest expenses, you're able to continue to keep your money in your business. Another really good benefit of the material financing product is the limits that we can offer. So we're going to offer, on average, a much higher limit than a traditional business or personal credit card and your line of credit. This enables you to take on bigger and more profitable projects throughout the year. And last thing is we're going to enable you to build and foster really strong relationships with your suppliers and general contractors. GCs knowing that you're well-funded and secure is really, really important for that relationship. And the more that you're paying suppliers early or in cash, you're going to get some preferential treatment there too. So what is the cost? Obviously, we're on a call with a lot of different people, and it's going to be different for all companies. But ultimately, the cost of Billd is going to be very similar to a business credit card. I say that, but the majority of our clients don't have a realized cost for using a Billd. We, again, feel very strongly that you all should not be the bank and therefore financing projects. So our most successful clients are adding this expense into their estimating and bid process. And like I said, the majority are realizing no additional cost. So the next step is we want to spend a little bit of time with Terry Miller. So Terry, thank you so much for joining us today. We're super excited to learn about you and your business, as well as how you partner with Billd. But first, can you tell us a little bit about you and your company to kick us off?
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of this. So Terry Miller, president of Solar One. We're a commercial and industrial development firm, and then we've also got the construction side of our business. So we are fully integrated from start to finish. Our relationship with Billd started back in 2019. We were in a position where we had a small line of credit, as Tommy alluded to. We needed more capital we had more projects in the pipeline than we had capital to be able to build them. And so when we met Billd, we were in a situation where we had the opportunity to grow, but we needed more access to capital to build more projects at the same time. And so Billd was an integral part in our growth. I believe our first year, we grew from, I think we more than, doubled our revenue the first year that we were with Billd. And then they assisted in our growth over a 3-year period to where we, from the time that we met, I think we had 6x'd our income since then. So, we always had a desire to have larger lines of credit with our banks. And had we not had our relationship with Billd, we never would have gotten there. Billd is still a partner of ours that we use when necessary. But the process, as the video talked about, the process for getting set up, for getting your payments made to your vendors or your suppliers, everything is very simple. You guys have made the process very user-friendly. And I have nothing but great things to say about Billd. You guys have, like I said, been a blessing to us and played an integral part in our growth over the past 4 or 5 years. So thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Terry. Do you mind sharing a little bit about, like, prior to you partnering with Billd, when you were faced with a ton of work that you weren't really able to start getting to, what were you all using as your working capital strategy? Was this self-funded, using your own cash, using a credit card? What did that look like prior to joining Billd?
Yeah, we had a small line of credit, and then we were using personal cash. We were using, cash from the company, and get into a couple of situations where you're sucking wind because the client we didn't finish a project on a particular time that we thought we would, or whatever that situation might have been. Yeah, that was very eye-opening, and we didn't want to be in that situation again where it was a little bit scarce on a few occasions. But yeah, that's where the capital was coming from, was internal capital, personal capital that we were putting back into the business, and small line of credit. We were in a situation where our banking relationships were here in Texas, where we're located, but we were doing projects all across the nation, and the banking relationships that we had would not go out of state. And so yeah, we had an interesting dynamic going on because our business was growing on a national level, and we didn't have a bank that would give us money on projects that were outside of the state. So you guys definitely stepped in during a time when we needed you most.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't think about that, because we sure enough can work all over the US, and there could be some challenges that you face. I never really thought about that, but very good. So you kind of mentioned a little bit about how, like, once you started partnering with Billd, you had another working capital tool in your tool belt to help fund some of these projects. You briefly touched on the impact of that. Can you talk a little bit more about that and the growth that you experienced and how you're managing that today?
Yeah. So again, at the time that we were introduced to Billd, we were about a $3.2 million company, gross sales. That first year, we grew just over 7 million. And then since then, we've grown we're right south of 20 million this year. Had we not had the relationship with Billd, we never would have been able to make, done this type of growth. Again, in order to build more projects at the same time, you have to have the working capital to do it. So to take that expense off of our plate, and to be able to pay our vendors on time and when we needed is obviously very necessary. And so, yeah, I mean, for any construction company that is looking to grow and scale their business, if you don't have a bank line of credit that's large enough to help you get there, Billd is definitely the right answer as far as I'm concerned.
Cool. So do you have any tips for how you account for the cost of Billd in your estimating or bid process? Is that something that is project specific, or is each line item accounting for the costs with?
Yeah. So, this day and age, that's what we did. We put a line item in there, just knowing how long that project should take, whether it was going to be a 60, 90, or 120 days, knowing what material we were going to be financing through Billd. So yeah, we could just build it into the project.
Okay, cool. And then lastly, you've shared a lot of good information with everybody today. Any other, like, recommendations or tips that you have for the contractors that are on the call today?
Yeah, even if you're on the fence about it, I would just suggest, go ahead and start the relationship, get approved for whatever line of credit that Billd is going to approve you for. And whether you use it now or you use it in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days down the road, at least you have it available. You get a contract that maybe you don't have it in your sights right now, but it happens over the next 30, 60, 90 days. Billd's going to be there to partner with you on that project. So
that's awesome. Thank you very much, Terry. I appreciate you being here and sharing your experience. It was awesome learning about your company too. So congrats on your success there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. So let's talk about a little bit more about the value of a Billd partnership and the rebates that we have through RENVU. So not only do you have myself that will be tied to the RENVU account and anybody that's interested in learning more about material financing or setting up an account like Terry mentioned, I'll be your main point of contact, but you're not only going to have me out of Atlanta. Our corporate office is headquartered in Austin, Texas. That's where Lanham and Travis sit. So one of the two of them and myself will be partnered on every single contractor that decides to move forward with setting up a line with Billd. The other piece is we really sit down and chat with you all. We use some great models to get a solid understanding of your current working capital position, what your goals are coming up for 2024, what are the new projects that you're bidding on or you'd like to bid on, and then we can really give you some solid data to help you determine the best ways to strategically deploy Billd's funds to help you grow your business and become more profitable. Last and certainly not least, I also want to share that we have with the RENVU and Billd partnership, we have an incredible rebate that we're offering all of RENVU's customers. So whenever you make a purchase using Billd, your credit line with Billd to purchase materials at RENVU, you get 0.5% back on your total purchase. So there's no limitations to this. It's anytime and every time you're using Billd to finance a purchase through RENVU, you will qualify for that 0.5% rebate back to you directly. So what are the next steps and what does it look like to onboard with Billd? So we've created a dedicated RENVU landing page that you all most likely will already have access to, that you're able to quickly go in and enter your business information as well as your personal contact information. And this will alert us that you're interested in having a conversation, and we'll get something scheduled on the calendar to discuss your business, just like I mentioned previously, your goals and upcoming projects. Once you decide, going back to what Terry said and what I say to all my clients is there's not a single cost to set up our lines through Billd. It's just like a traditional line of credit with the bank. You only have a cost when you use the product. So once you decide to enroll, you're going to fill out a 60-second enrollment form, and you're going to securely connect your bank account in the portal. And this is how we determine revenue. The great thing is, once that takes place, we typically have an approval within 24 to 48 hours. And within another day prior or after your approval, we would be ready to help you fund a project. So in order to fund a project, you're going to, again, have me, Lantham, and Travis associated with your team, but we'll walk you through the portal. It's very intuitive, incredibly user-friendly, and you're going to be able to upload your projects, your invoices, and easily submit these for approval and for payment. So we'll walk you through that process as well. And that's it. That's all I wanted to cover. So happy to open it up for questions. So feel free to chat some questions or we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, we have a few questions in the queue. The first one's actually for Terry. So you're back on, Terry. I think you mentioned that one of the holdups as you were growing your business, the question is, was the holdup actually building and not sales? So maybe you can get into a little bit of details around how sales was performing, how building was performing, and the kind of the balance between those two.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, our particular situation was we had more inked contracts than we had capital to build. And so we had a construction pipeline that was bigger than our capacity to, we were having to push projects out, 4 to 6 months after we signed those contracts. And so, we wanted to be able to get those in a install queue much quicker than that. And so, yeah, that was the situation for us. It wasn't a lack of sales. It was a lack of working capital to build more projects at the same time.
Yep. The next question is, can we get approved for larger loans with Billd using a project contract compared to standard business financing that is based on our revenue? Tommy, I'll let you handle that one.
Oh, thanks, Javi. So the answer is potentially yes. We are when you compare what we can offer to a traditional bank line of credit and credit card, we're able to provide a much higher limit because it's project specific. So it's going to be based off of you and your revenue, your personal credit. And then we'll take a look at each project and make sure that those are going to be approved. But the short answer is yes, we can provide limits that are much higher than traditional.
Yeah, and I can actually add a little bit more detail here. So Billd is the only person in the space that understands how to underwrite construction effectively and underwrite projects that commercial contractors are working on. Both Michael and I spent, and actually Tommy spent, 7+ years at American Express handling and working with commercial contractors, and we were constantly up against capacity and credit limits made available. So what's really unique about Billd is that we will look at the individual project contract that you are working on. We'll look at things like the property owner, the GC on the project, and we understand the value of materials that will need to be purchased in order to execute any contract that you're working on. And then that really helps us align the credit capacity necessary in order to purchase the materials on that contract or that specific project. And that's really a differentiator that we bring to the space, and really helps our contractors have the capacity necessary to have the flexibility and repayment terms on the materials they need for any given contract.
There was one more question asking if this is limited to the US or if they can finance also international projects.
Unfortunately, it's US, no international at this time.
Yep.
And then I just saw another question come in. Can we work with other supply companies? And the answer is yes. Once you have an account set up with Billd, you're going to be able to use this with any supplier. The rebate that we have through the RENVU partnership is obviously just going to be good for when you're using your Billd line with RENVU purchases, but you would be able to use Billd with other suppliers.
Yep. And Tommy mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we've got thousands of subcontractor customers in our ecosystem, in our network. And to date, we've paid over 4,000 suppliers. So there's a decent likelihood that some of the suppliers that you may be working with today are already in our network. And if not, it's very easy to add them in. So happy to chat with any contractors about those details.
It looks like we came to the end here. Thanks, Tommy, Javier, Michael, and of course Terry for sharing your experience. That was fascinating and great information. If anybody have more questions, you're welcome to either email us at renvu, info@renvu.com. As I said, this webinar is being recorded, and we will share it, a recording of it, in a follow-up email, and you can respond to that email with any further questions that you have. And thanks everybody for hosting it with me here, and have a great rest of your week.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
all.
Thank you.